I grew up in a small town in North Dakota, Pembina, North Dakota. The population of my hometown only had 600 people in it. It's right on the U.S.-Canadian border, and we bordered right with North Dakota and Minnesota. I actually had two sisters that really influenced me a lot about my decision to join the Navy. They had joined the Navy before I had. And so what they were doing is they were telling me what a great life it was for them and all the opportunities that they were finding, that they were getting. We had 10 children in our family, and my parents, I knew, were not going to be able to afford to send me to college. So I knew the benefits of the GI Bill that was out there and wanted to take advantage of that. The other thing is I really wanted to see the world. I wanted to travel and at least get out of the state of North Dakota. My first stop was boot camp in Orlando, Florida. I had left North Dakota, so it was 39 below zero. And I traveled to Orlando, Florida, and changed 100 degrees in one day. That in itself was the first shock. Then I was in boot camp with 50 other girls that had come from different parts of the country, and that was probably the biggest culture shock I'd ever experienced in my life. When I joined the Navy, women were not allowed to be in any combat zone or put in any type of scenario where there would have been a military conflict. We were only allowed certain fields that we could go into because they had to be ones that we could be stationed in locations where we wouldn't necessarily have to be in a battleground. I chose the yeoman field, which was basically your administrative type work. I was very fortunate in the locations that I went to, or at least I feel I was. I went to yeoman training school for 6 weeks in Meridian, Mississippi. Once the school was done, I went to San Francisco. I was at a transportation office. After that, I went to Headquarters European Command. It is located in Stuttgart, Germany. I traveled a lot throughout Europe. I learned how to ski in the Alps. And when I was done with that tour, I transferred to San Diego, California. In San Diego, my commitment to active duty had come up, and I had made the decision at that point not to continue my active duty service, and that's when I joined the reserves the very next day. So then after that, all the other locations I went to were kind of coincided with where my husband was being transferred. So after we had left San Diego, we went to Jacksonville, Florida. And then the next place was up in Yorktown, Virginia. And then after that, it was Staten Island, New York. And then the final location was here in the Twin Cities. But all along, I was able to stay in the reserves. In 1985, I was selected as the National Naval Reservist of the Year. And even as I speak today, it's kind of overwhelming to think about that. The selection came from 90,000 reservists. It was an absolute incredible honor. And what happened is we were all invited to a week long of ceremonies. And throughout many of the ceremonies, we were introduced to some very high-level military officials. But the epitome of the honor came when all of us were invited into Vice President Bush's office. And he welcomed all the families in. He treated us as if he had known us our entire lives. He sat there and explained stuff about his office. He took us out on his balcony, and he's pointing us out, what he can see at different times of the day, and just showed us a real personal side to him. And at times I felt like I had to pinch myself that I actually was in these meetings. And I thought, out of 90,000 people, why me? I think part of it is that my roots of growing up in a family of 10 is that it was drilled in us that you work hard, you respect people around you, and good things will come. And no matter what job you're doing, I want you to do a good job, and I want you to give 100%. And if you have more than 100%, I want you to add a little bit to that. And I think in everything that I did, I took it on as that. Just because I saw that the work that was in front of me needed to get done, I always wanted to go above and beyond. And then if I saw something that I felt needed to be altered or changed or to be made better, I put in that effort to make sure that things did happen.
City of Woodbury Engineering.
The most incredible part, what the military had done for me, was to teach me the importance of respect and dedication. And that, I feel, is something that's carried over into my life. And I feel that it is a way for me to interact and to be a part of the human race, to tell you the truth. This paver's for me. I bought it while I'm working here at the City of Woodbury. And I knew the location was going to be right outside my door. So periodically I'll take walks and I come here and I just stand on my paver. It gives me the opportunity to reflect back on my military time, and it keeps me connected to that culture. And it also brings me back into that deep sense of pride that I had throughout my whole time that I served in the military. And what I do also while I'm here, I look around and I read a lot of the other ones. Although mine does not have a Purple Heart on it, I was never wounded in a battle, I was never put into a battle. But it makes me feel so proud to be a part of everyone else who has a paver in him. So the reason why it's important for me to have this paver here is for me.